Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. We're going to be talking about ways that you could be part of your NICU care team. Your baby is receiving the very best care from doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel, and they would like you to know that you are a very important member of this team. No one loves this baby more than you do, and the more involved and informed you are, the better team member you can be for your baby. We have some very special people joining us today. They all have children who started out in the NICU, and they have walked the same path that you are on. Today, they are going to share some things they did to be a part of their baby's NICU team. And I'm going to ask our panel to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their child, and we'll start with Rachel.
Hey, I'm Rachel Humphreys, and my daughter Addie was born 10 years ago. She was a 25-weeker. She had a rough go through the NICU, so we spent 167 days in the unit. She had 3 surgeries before she was discharged, but now she is happy and full of joy and the strongest person that I know. So I'm glad that I can be here with you all today and tell you a little bit about our experience and introduce you to Addie.
And Crystal?
My name is Crystal Wilson. I was in the NICU 3 years ago with my daughter. She was born at 27 weeks with preeclampsia and severe IUGR, and she spent 103 days there in the NICU. Since then, we've definitely had some ups and downs out of the NICU and still going through our journey, but she's doing great.
And Ben and Rosalind?
I'm Ben.
I'm Rosalind.
We have 2 twin girls that were born 5 years ago. They were right at 7.5 weeks early, and we spent a little less than a month in the NICU, but the girls are healthy now, thriving.
Thanks to our panel for sharing a little bit about their precious children. We're so glad that we have them here today to share what they did to become a part of their child's NICU team. Our panel and many other parents have said that it is really helpful to ask questions. It's normal to have lots of questions about your baby's medical condition. If you're confused or worried or frustrated and you don't speak up, the staff will never know. They will most likely think that you understand everything that's going on. So ask lots of questions right from the beginning and throughout your stay. They've heard it all, and there are no silly questions. First, we'll have Rosalind tell us what kind of questions she had with her twins when you were in the NICU.
Gosh, the first thing I asked every single day was, when can I take my baby home? You know, I knew it was the first day. I knew we would be there for a few days, but still, you still want like a time frame of, you know, how long you're going to be there, and you never know. So every single day, I would ask my doctor, when do I get to take my babies home? Because I wanted him to know that was my main goal.
Yes.
Besides all the others, like, you know, how are the babies doing? You know, is there something I need to know or understand, or did something happen while I was sleeping?
Right.
You know, so just any question. There's never a wrong one.
Asking all kinds of questions about your baby brings up our next point. How do you remember all the answers, especially to share with other members of your family? How do you keep up with it all? Rosalind is going to share some strategies that you used. How did you keep up with everything?
Well, you always think like at hospitals or something, there'll be like a Post-it note or something or a pen, but no, that's like the last thing you're gonna think of. So with the technology nowadays, I just text myself, or I'll text my husband and be like, hey, remind me to ask this, remind myself to do this. Even like the whiteboard that tells us what their weight, what they ate, and how much they've gained or lost, I would just take a photo of it. That way I could know, oh, okay, well, yesterday she ate this much, and then today she ate this much. Or it will help let me remember what happened the day before, because if you don't have time to jot it down, you don't have time to go look for a pen and paper. You know, you don't want to have to go bother the nurses for stationery or anything like that. So you're always going to have your phone with you. Everybody always does. So just utilize it.
Right. It's a great suggestion. Great. Our panel has also suggested that it is important to develop a relationship with the NICU staff to get to know who cares for your baby and to allow them to get to know you. As you learn more about your baby's doctors and nurses, you'll feel more comfortable approaching them with your questions and concerns. Rachel is going to tell us about the relationships that she developed while in the hospital and how that happened.
Yeah, well, when we were in the NICU, everything felt foreign. The equipment's scary, and there's no one better to partner with you and who wants to partner with you more than the staff there in the NICU, specifically the nurses. They do most of the hands-on care. They're there at the bedside. other than you and your family, they'll know your baby the best. And we spent a lot of time sitting there and having conversations and being open to conversations and getting to know them. One big way that kind of happened for us was choosing a primary. We had a primary for day shift and night shift. It's somebody who gets to know your baby. They know what's different. We had a primary pickup on something that was going on with Addie, not because of a specific test, but because she knew Addie. And so
Right.
it was really neat that we trusted her and had that relationship. I know that when you go home, it's hard to go home and sleep. It helps when you have a primary that you've built a relationship with. And if you're interested in primaries, all you have to do is ask your nurse if there's someone that you've clicked with, and ask them if they would be interested in being a primary for you. When I went back to work, it was very comforting to know that somebody who knew Addie was there with her when I couldn't be. And 10 years later, we're still best friends with 2 of our primaries, and it's been a really neat relationship to get to watch my daughter grow up alongside one of their sons, and it's just a really neat bond. No one knows what you're going through more than the people that are there in the NICU with you, and you really can build some great relationships.
Thank you, Rachel. It sounds like building relationships with your NICU team provides a lot of support and confidence in caring for your child, not only during your stay in the NICU, but even long after you're released home.
Yeah.
Because your baby needs specialized care, you may feel displaced by all the professionals that are part of your baby's care team. You may feel like the baby isn't yours and that you should leave the work to the people who know more. But remember that you provide your baby with something a medical professional cannot, a parent. And as soon as it is medically safe, start to ask about some of the basic care that you can provide for your baby. Crystal is going to tell us about what that looked like for her in the NICU.
When Carlia was born, she only weighed 1 pound and 8 ounces. So I was absolutely terrified to touch her or do anything to help with her. And so I asked the nurses, what can I do? When can I touch her? When can I hold her? When can I do all of these things? And they're like, you can take her temperature. Every 3 hours, we need to take her temperature. So I picked up that thermometer and I put it exactly where they said so I could get her temperature. And asked about diaper changes. They said, hey, every 3 hours, you can change her diapers. Here are the diapers. And so every 3 hours, I was spot on with changing those diapers out. I would always be like, when can she wear clothes? And they were like, hey, she's got to be this much. And I was like, okay, when can I start bringing in clothes? I want her to wear my clothing so then it smells like us. And they're like, absolutely. Whenever she's this many grams, you can start bringing in clothing. And so I was really big about bringing in laundry from home so it would smell like us and I got to do something as a parent. The other big thing for me was pumping. I felt like since my body had failed us in the sense that I couldn't carry her full term, I wanted to do something that I could do. And one of the big things for me was pumping. And so I was very religious on my pump schedule. Every 3 hours on the dot, I was in a pump room, or I had my pump with me in the car, or at home. Like I was very spot on with pumping. And then the other major thing was asking, when can I hold my baby? When can I actually just feel her on me? And we were 9 days out from her birth, and they told me I could do some kangaroo care, and that was just the most amazing thing ever when they laid my baby on my chest.
Kangaroo care is so important. You want to elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, so kangaroo care is where they take the baby and with no clothing on it, and they lay it on the mother or the father's chest. And it's so important. It helps regulate their breathing. It helps get their temperature to be more constant. And with moms and babies are already used to listening to our heartbeat. And so whenever they're laying on our chest, it kind of helps synchronize that heart and their breathing. And it just brings them a sense of calmness. And it also helps parents bond with their children and develop that relationship that we feel like we're lacking whenever we're not taking care of our child constantly.
So sounds like there's a lot that you can do to help build that bonding with your child.
Absolutely.
Finally, let's talk about preparing for uncertainty, because it is a part of the NICU experience. There will be times when medical staff is unable to give you a definitive answer about your baby's condition. Your role as a member of the team is important during periods of uncertainty. Continue to ask questions, participate in daily care, and advocate for your infant's needs. Staying involved in the process will lead to less anxiety as you work with the medical team to solve problems. Ben is going to tell us about ways that he and Rosalind dealt with uncertainty during their time in the NICU.
I've been in healthcare for 18 years now, so you would like to think that I was pretty prepared for what was about to happen. But the truth is the matter, I don't think you're ever prepared for what's about to happen. All of a sudden, they whisk your baby off, and then, they're in this box with all these tubes, and it was scary for sure. One of the things that I still stress to all of the parents that we talk about is taking care of yourself. You've got to be in the right physical health and the right mental health, or the situation is just going to exasperate itself. Make sure that you're eating good, make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep, make sure that you're staying hydrated. Those things will help you deal with stress. And then also, look for help. Talk to your spouse, talk to your pastor, talk to, a counselor. There's no shame in talking to somebody to help you deal with what's going on. Dealing with the uncertainty and dealing with the stress is an important part of being in there. Like I said, take care of yourself. That's my big advice to all the parents that are going through this.
Thank you to our panel for sharing these invaluable tips to help you be an important part of your NICU team. To summarize, these tips included asking questions, writing things down, building relationships, helping with your child's care, and dealing with uncertainty. And thanks also to each of you who took the time to listen to this information. We hope it proves to be helpful. Friends of Tennessee's Babies with Special Needs wishes the very best for you and your baby.